For this section, we're going to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So again, we're still using this y equals mx plus b. So you want to write an equation of the line in this form. So for this first one here, it gives you the slope and it gives you the y-intercept. So there's my b, there's my m, so all I've got to do is plug it in. So we have y equals 2x plus b is 5. So if they give you the slope and y-intercept, it's super simple because you just write it down. For the next one, I have my m is equal to 3, and I have the point 1, 4. Well, so that one's not as easy because they don't give me the y-intercept. They give me another point on the line. So what you're going to do is you have to use, there's other forms of lines, and one's called point slope form, which is a line that goes through the point x1, y1. It is y minus y1 is equal to m, your slope, times x minus x1. So if they give you your slope and a point, this is your x1, y1, so you just plug all that in. So we've got y minus y1 is 4, your y value is equal to m, they give you is 3, times x minus our x coordinate, or x1 is 1. Now if they didn't give you the slope, if they only gave you like 2 ordered pairs, you have to use the slope formula and then use this and solve. So once you have this, now you can solve for y to write it in the slope-intercept form, the mx plus b. So I would have y minus 4. If I distribute my 3, I would have 3x minus 3. Add 4 to both sides. We'd have 3x. Negative 3 plus 4 is plus 1. So there it is in slope-intercept form. So for this one, they say m is equal to negative 6 and it goes through the origin 0, 0. Well, if you pay attention, you're given your y-intercept because your y-intercept is when x is 0. So here's my b. So I can just write this one down. Y is equal to negative 6x for my m, plus 0 is just 0 plus 0, so it's not there, so negative 6x. If you don't pay attention to the fact that you have a y-intercept, because they give you the coordinate where x is 0, and you do use point slope form, I'll show you up here on this screen instead of write it down again, you'd have y minus 0 is equal to negative 6 times x minus 0, so it still comes out to the same answer. So you can always use that point slope form to get your answer if you need to. For the next one, they're going to give you 2 points. So this is what I was saying, is if you're not given the slope, then you're going to have to use your slope formula. Then once you have your slope, you use your point slope form. Once you have your point slope form, you can go to slope intercept form. So to find our slope here, we do 3 minus 1 over 6 minus 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then you can pick, okay? You don't have, so point slope form, you can use either ordered pair. Just make sure if you use this y, you use this x, or if you use this y, you use this x. It doesn't matter which point you use. Personally, I always pick the one that has the lower numbers, or if there's one that has a 0 or anything that'll make life a little bit easier. So I would pick this one because it has a 4 and a 1. Their numbers are smaller. Usually smaller numbers are easier to deal with. But you can choose. You could use this point if you wanted. So you do y minus your y value, which is 1, is equal to your slope, which is 1, times x minus your x value. And again, make sure you keep the ordered pair together. So we're using this one. So don't get confused and put 1 for y value and a 6 for an x value. That gives you a different line. And solve for y. I have y minus 1 is equal to x minus 4. Add 1 to both sides. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So y is equal to x minus 3. And on the handwritten notes that I have up here, I also say or, and I'll show you you can do it using the other point, the 6, 3, and it'll come out to the same thing. If you do it both ways and you get a different answer, then there's a problem. And then just to comment on these, for this one, your slope is 0. So when you have a 0 slope, you're going to have, when you do your point slope form here, the x goes away, so you end up with y equals 5. Remember, y equals 5 is a horizontal line because no matter what x is, y has to be 5. So anytime you have a slope of 0, you're going to have a y equals some number as your equation of the line. And then for this one, the next one, when you do the slope formula, if the x's are the same, you get a number divided by 0, which is undefined. So in this case, you have an undefined slope, which is a vertical line. So x is 4, so this equation of this line would just be x equals 4. So if you have a 0 slope, you're going to have y equals some number. So in this case, y is 5, y is 5. If you do it point slope form, y is 5 no matter what. This one down here, undefined slope, the y is missing, so it's a vertical line, so x equals whatever your x value is on both. And then for the last problem here, we have the ordered pair 1, 6 and negative 1, negative 6. So again, use your slope formula first to determine the slope. So I'm going to take the difference in my y's. So I've got negative 6 minus 6 divided by the difference in my x's, negative 1 minus 1. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. Negative 12 divided by negative 2 is 6. And then pick one of your ordered pairs to use in point slope form. The one that has the least negatives usually means you make the least amount of mistakes. So I would pick that one. I would do 1, 6. So I'll go over here since I'm about out of room. So we have y minus our y value of 6 is equal to m, our slope, 6 times x minus our x value of 1. Then you can solve that for y. Distribute my 6, I get 6x minus 6. Add 6 to both sides, y is equal to 6x. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0, so just y equals 6x. If you had used the other point, just to show you and make note of this, when you do these with point slope form, just like in the slope formula, if you have a negative, the point slope form is a minus always. So you would have, if you use this other ordered pair, you would have y minus negative 6, so it's actually going to be y plus 6. Same thing for x. X minus negative 1, so it'd actually be x plus 1. So usually the biggest mistake on these are positives and negatives. It's not so much the finding the slope or anything, except sometimes slope can trip you up on positives and negatives too. So just make sure your formulas are with minus signs. So here, formulas are with minus signs. So just pay attention when you have the negative ordered pairs, or the negative numbers in the ordered pairs, I should say.